on an all-new Dr. Phil. He blames his mother-in-law.
Did you tell your daughter not to put his name on a birth certificate?
For destroying his family.
You're lying right here on TV.
You know what? You're the liar.
I'm getting ready to turn the whole bunch of you into Child Protective Services.
Plus, he's had affairs.
Because you get an adrenaline rush.
But no time for his wife.
He made time every single day for 8 weeks to sleep with my friend.
How's your adrenaline running right now? Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I hate to see people suffering, and you've hurt long enough.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
I'm going to get you the help that you need.
In 5, 4,
This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Go, Dr. Phil.
Well, Joey says all of his dreams came true the day he and his wife, Amanda, started a family. But his world shattered when the mother of his child almost didn't include him on the birth certificate. Things got even worse when Amanda took their daughter, walked out the door, and filed a protection order against him just 6 months after saying "I do." And who does Joey blame for destroying his marriage? Himself? Not hardly. His mother-in-law, Mina, who he says treats him like the scum of the earth. Take a look.
Well, the first time our family was introduced to Joey, he said, "Hi, my name is Joey. I'm never wrong."
My mother-in-law, Mina, was very judgmental towards me.
She just didn't like him.
Joey is a very hostile, volatile, and disagreeable person.
My mother-in-law, Mina, is controlling, mean, and spiteful person.
When Amanda's cousin got married, at the wedding reception, he was yelling and screaming obscenities at Amanda. And I said to her, if he's mean to you, and you can break up with him right now, cut your losses.
We started fighting a lot after I found out I was pregnant. My mom told me not to put Joey's name on the birth certificate until we were married.
He reacted very poorly when Amanda told him. He became very hostile towards me. How dare you say something like that?
Once my mother-in-law, Mina, started pressuring Amanda into leaving my name off of the birth certificate, I knew that we were not going to get along.
The big turning point was when he pushed me against the counter. I knew at that point that I was definitely unsafe around him.
First words out of her mouth is, "I can't believe you pushed me. You pushed me."
I called the police and I left with the clothes that my daughter and I had on our back.
That was her breaking point.
That was her proof that she could take to her family and say that I was a violent person.
My daughter's marriage is over, and I blame it on Joey.
Well, Amanda says her estranged husband, Joey, needs to stop blaming her mother, Mina, for destroying their marriage.
I have been told by Joey that he thinks that I'm crazy and that he thinks that I'm controlling and that he thinks that I am doing all of these things with malicious intent.
I believe my mother-in-law, Mina, is about 90% responsible for all of our marital problems.
My daughter had a protective order issued because Joey is violent and unstable. He has sent me text messages that say that he was going to come to my house and this and that and the other.
I have sent some pretty nasty texts to her. She submitted a lot of these texts to court, but then she deletes out all of her text messages back to me. She turns it into a one-sided conversation. My mother-in-law, Mina, bragged about how she worked so hard to keep the birth of my son from me. He existed in the world for a whole week, and I didn't know anything about him.
To me, being a dad is a lot more than just being able to inseminate someone. The question that I have for Dr. Phil is, am I just crazy? Because if there's something I'm not seeing in this situation that I need to be seeing, then I need to have it pointed out to me.
Okay, you think that there is a possibility that you're over-involved here?
I'm open to any possibility at this point because clearly what we've been doing legally and whatnot is not working. Parent time's not working, child support's not working.
That's because you forced your way in on our relationship. You forced your way in on the relationship between me and my children.
Into our relationship, Joey.
She requested that the court put her in between me and my children so she can be in control.
No, I requested.
You requested
that she do that.
so that she could be in control, so that she could keep my kids from me, so that she could make me chase them down, and then promise that, oh, I'm doing everything I can to accommodate you.
No, I asked her to do it because I can't deal with you. Because you are unpredictable and you are out of control when
Why do you need your mother involved at all?
My mom was my support system, and she was the one who offered me to do the parent time and help out with that.
When you have a protective order in place, it means that those two can't talk at all. So someone else had to do parent time.
Okay, well, what's your ownership in this?
He has none.
I've wanted to be a daddy my entire life.
But why did you say that you think she trapped you by getting pregnant?
Because she claimed that she believed she was pregnant once, and even though I was nervous about it, I was so excited to have a kid. At the time, I didn't even care who it was with. I was just so excited. I'm having a baby.
You say she's 90% of the reason that this marriage is caved in. 90% of the reason. And I ask you, what's your ownership? And you said, oh, I just wanted to be a daddy. I just wanted to be a daddy. So you think you have zero ownership in
No,
this?
absolutely not. I believe that we
got
did fight a lot.
90% here. Is the 10% divided between you two?
I would say that, yes.
And then what part of that 10 would be you?
I am a vocal person. I'm a very passionate person. I like to say what I think a lot.
Well, let me ask you about that. Did you wind up in contempt of court for failure to return her personal property and failure to comply with a protective order?
I did end up with a contempt of court charge because of it, but at the same time, yeah, but at the same time, she had come and picked up her property already. I don't have any of her property.
Have you yelled and thrown things at her while she was pregnant?
I have never thrown anything, but yes, I have
Did you throw a
yelled.
baby mobile at her?
No,
Yeah.
I haven't thrown anything at her ever.
During a fight?
I believe I have.
Did you kick the car during a fight? The police were
No,
called?
there would have been the police weren't called because there wasn't any evidence. There's no police report.
Did you push her into a counter when she was 8 weeks pregnant?
We tripped over each other, and yes, I did back her into a counter, yes.
Did you lose your temper in court to the point that they almost arrested you in the courtroom?
Yes, because Amanda started claiming that I left her for another woman and was just throwing out some just flat out lies against me, and I didn't have a chance to even speak in that court. I was told to sit down.
Have you called, so they weren't being fair to you?
No, they have not been
letting you
fair.
talk.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, did you call her a bitch?
I have called Amanda that in my life,
Did you call her
yes.
the word?
Amanda, no.
Oh, did you reserve that?
Yes.
Are you paying your child support?
I have actually tried to pay my child support back in July. I gave Mina a check, and
that would
she
be a
basically
no.
didn't deposit it, so I haven't tried to pay it yet. I now have something set up with the government so I can actually prove that I'm paying child support from here on out, yes.
So the answer is no, you're not paying child support.
No, but I have tried. I have made an effort.
How you try to pay child support? They won't take the money?
Yes, that's exactly what happened. I gave her a check.
No, you did not.
And
give
all
me a
you
check.
have
No.
to do, all you have
You
to do
never
is
did.
not
If I
deposit
had
a
a
check, and I
check,
have no
I would have
proof.
deposited it
Believe
and
me,
helped
it's
take
money.
care
I
of my
don't
children.
believe that you even know the extent of what this woman has done.
I don't believe
that
that you know the extent of what you've done.
I know exactly what.
Did you get in a fight with Amanda at her cousin's wedding?
Yes, I did.
Did you hit her?
No, I've never hit Amanda.
Did you punch her?
Ever. No, never.
Did you scream, call her a bitch?
We were both screaming at each other. I can't remember what was said, but I've never hit her. I've never threatened her. Never tried to hurt her in any way, shape, or form.
All right, Amanda and Joey's custody issues continued to play out here in Los Angeles after they flew in to appear on the show. We'll talk about that when we come back.
September 4th was to be parent time. He showed up at my door. Joey Lou, of course, runs straight to her daddy.
I picked her up, threw her on my hip, and took off.
I'm like, where are you taking her? So I called the police. My worst nightmare is that harm would come to my grandchildren. Amanda called and she was crying. She was hysterical. She was bawling on the phone saying Joey had thrown the baby's mobile across the room at her. She was scared to death. She was terrified. I told Amanda, this is abusive. This is just gonna get worse.
Well, that was Mina talking about her son-in-law's violent outburst. Now, Mina says dealing with Joey's parent time is always a fight. She says she's just tired of all of his antics. But Joey
show
says
up when you're supposed to be
his
there,
mother-in-law
be home,
is
answer
just
phone calls.
plotting to take away his children. Take a look.
My worst nightmare is that harm would come to my grandchildren.
Mina has worked very hard to make sure that every single visit I have with either of my children is in her home. You know, she wants to pick a fight every single time we get together.
September 4th was to be parent time, and he showed up at my door an hour earlier than typical. And Joey Lou, of course, runs straight to her daddy. She's excited to see him. He picks her up, says blank to me.
Mina had told me that I'm not allowed to take her out of the house. So I just went ahead and picked her up, threw her on my hip, and took off.
I'm like, where are you taking her? And when are you coming back with her? He won't answer me, so I called the police.
A couple of cop cars tried to stop me because I guess Mina told them I was trying to kidnap my daughter.
I really don't like at all the way that he's handling his responsibilities as a parent and handling these parent time exchanges, but I'm not in charge of him.
Not anymore, you're not.
I never was in charge of you, Joey.
You really tried.
Okay, I asked him what percentage of this he had. He said 90% of the reason my marriage is caving in is my mother-in-law. At least 10% divide between the two of you. He said these are all just misunderstandings. He's trying to pay his child support. He didn't. Do you work?
I work 6 days a week. I pay for everything for my children.
I've offered to take care of child care, and you won't even tell me where she goes. I don't even get to know where she's at in daycare.
Do you work?
Because you're violent.
Yes. I work full-time.
You work full-time. Have you always?
No.
I mean, I have always worked full-time. I've had some time where I didn't work, yes.
Did he criticize you for working so much?
Yeah, he got upset.
Well, it seems like you were working like sometimes
Around
11
the clock.
hours a day, and he wasn't working, but he was criticizing you for working so much.
Yeah.
That's what you told us.
Because he wanted me to come home. He also wanted me to come home and cook and clean and do everything
You've
else
never
for
cooked
him.
or cleaned in our entire relationship. You've never cleaned a single thing. In fact, you
That's
stored dirty diapers under our daughter's playpen.
That's
because I
interesting.
kept asking you to throw them out, and you would leave them in the bed, you leave them on furniture, and then you
okay.
started hiding them under the playpen because you refused to clean anything.
Yes, because that's what I wanted to happen.
So
that
what happened
playpen.
once you guys got here?
Well, Saturday night, my stepdad, Donald, called Joey to ask him where to do parent time, and he said, I asked you not to talk to me.
Which I have done.
So,
I filed a police report asking the
I
police
decided to
call
take
so
it
you're not
upon
having
myself
that
and
contact.
figure it out, and it was a 3.5-hour battle to get you to tell me where you wanted to do parent time. Instead of just saying, yes, I'd love to do parent time, Amanda, here's where I'd like you to drop our son off.
Because you're required by law to let me know if you're taking our kids out of state. I had made arrangements to have my son
lawyer
picked
tried
up.
to contact you. You didn't respond.
I was supposed to receive an itinerary. I was supposed to receive contact information. And
Okay,
I had
well,
no
I could have
idea
left
if
our son home.
I still have no idea where our daughter is.
I could have left
I still
our
have
son
no
home
idea.
and been in contempt of court for not giving you your parent time, and you would have thrown that in my face. So I brought our son. I fought to bring our son.
You wanted to meet me on the street.
Well, here's there's actually a text record of all of this. Amanda wrote this text to Joey. The bottom line is, do you want to see our son? Me, you, my mom, Donald, and everyone at Dr. Phil knows you are here. If you do want to see him, my mom and I will meet you so you can have your parent time. Joey to Amanda. The bottom line is that I have made arrangements with my family to pick him up where and when we agreed. The bottom line is you broke the law. So Amanda says, okay, fine. Don't see your son tomorrow. Just remember this was your choice. Let me know no later than 10 a.m. tomorrow morning if you change your mind so we can make arrangements to meet. To which Joey responds, you don't get to threaten me. The court order doesn't give you the power to take my son out of state and make demands like this. Does he harass you when you're out with friends?
When we were together, he would call me all the time to find out when I was going to be home, why I wasn't home, why I didn't want to spend time with our family, why I would rather be with my friends than with him.
Actually, the conversation was, if you're going to be late coming home from work, can you at least let me know when you're getting home so I know when I should start working?
How many times would you ask that question in, say, 2 hours?
It would be once every time she would not show up. She would not. I never called her while she was out.
The only time I ever went to.
What do you call harassment if you were out with friends?
Asking what my,
would he call you a lot? Would he text you a lot?
He called me and texted me the whole time I was with them until I finally gave up and just came home.
Like how many times?
Probably a good 10 times.
How many times did you respond?
2-hour period.
And you're lying right here on TV. You're going to lie. You have a history of lying.
No, you know what? You're the liar, and you keep trying to accuse everybody else of being the liar.
I've never harassed anyone.
Joey, you're the only one who doesn't take any responsibility for anything that happened in our relationship.
That say that Amanda claimed that she left me because I was an abusive drug addict. I passed the drug test.
Saying that.
There's a history of separation where Amanda says she left me. We were in court.
Right.
Then she started claiming that I left her for another woman. That was a lie. That was a lie.
Stop. That was an interruption and a misunderstanding between me and my boyfriend.
I left you for another woman was a misunderstanding? That's a huge deal. That's a lie to make me look like a monster.
The attorney misunderstood his notes and made a misspeech.
Well, Mana's husband, Donald, has been watching the show and live tweeting. He has a lot to say. We'll hear from him next. Plus, Joey has a new roommate who moved in this last weekend. I don't know who that is, but we'll find out.
Joey, you threw a mobile at me when our daughter was a month old.
You
threw our daughter's mobile at me when we were a month old.
I tried to take our daughter.
You are a violent person.
Joey was becoming more and more aggressive and hostile towards Amanda when he would come to pick Joey Lou up at our home. So right now we're doing parent time exchanges at a police station so that it won't be such a battlefield.
Well, Joey claims that he wants to divorce his mother-in-law, Mina, who he feels has conspired with his estranged wife, Amanda, to take away his children. All right, Mina says Joey's antics during parenting time have gotten so bad that it is giving her distress. Now, Mina's husband, Donald, has been watching the show from home and tweeting up a storm about what he has heard today. The first one he has up is, Joey has two sides. One is a consummate actor. Then he said, they fought almost continuously from the first day we met him. Then he said, his antics are indicative of his personality. Scary.
What we fought about was her.
No, what we fought about was you and me, and you're unwilling to take responsibility for that.
What did we fight about? What was our fights about?
Money.
We
Not
didn't
having
fight
a
about money.
job.
We didn't fight about that.
Oh, we did, Joey.
We fought about her.
No.
Because you were so upset that I didn't like your mom. That's what we fought about most of the time.
Yeah,
Because
and you
I
had
was
no
being
reason to
too
not
mean.
like my mom.
Did you tell your daughter not to put his name on the birth certificate?
She came to me after a really bad fight with her and Joey, and here's exactly what I said. She was upset. It had been a terrible, terrible argument. She was newly pregnant, and I said to her, there are other ways to handle this, Amanda. You don't have to get married to him. You can break it off now. You can cut your losses. You can have the baby, not put the baby's any information on the birth certificate.
You asked her to claim that she didn't know who the dad was.
Just put nothing on the birth certificate.
the only
And there
way to
are
do
ways
that.
in the state of Utah that if he wants to be the parent, he can take care of that.
But commonsensically, is that reasonable? Is it fair? I mean, this is the
He
father
was already
of that
being
child.
so violent and so hostile towards her.
Where's the police reports that say I'm violent?
We
If I'm
have
so
the
violent,
police reports,
you
Dr.
got
Phil. You
one.
have.
You
the police
admitted in the
got
police
one.
report that you pushed me, Joey.
I will say that I did admit that, and I ended up admitting it in court because my lawyer said, don't fight the police report. I
And then
explained to
you're
him
gonna
what
try
happened.
and say no?
I tripped over us.
That's
we
interesting.
tripped over each other, and that's what happened. And I had to go with it because the cop says
Because
yes,
you
he
admitted
to
it in the
pushing me.
police report.
But he did say there was no domestic violence, otherwise I would have went to jail. And then you got one instance in all of this stuff where you're claiming that I'm violent, throwing things, I'm hurting people.
Joey, you
got
threw a
one
mobile at me when
police
our daughter
report.
was
You
a
got
month
one
old.
thing that
You threw
suggests
our
that
daughter's
maybe,
mobile at me when we were a month
and I
old.
tried to take our daughter.
And there
You
is
are a
your
violent
for that.
person.
Okay, who's your new roommate?
My girlfriend.
His second
Second
girlfriend.
girlfriend since November.
Does that make me a villain?
While you're still divorced,
Because I left somebody who was not a good person.
still not divorced.
What do you care who he's dating as long as it's not your daughter?
Well, here's the only problem. He has the 2-year-old call her mommy.
My 2-year-old calls her. Her name is. That's what my 2-year-old calls her. She called her mom because my girlfriend had a teenage daughter that called her mom. And one thing about Joey, if you know anything about her, she likes to be big. So she hung out with that teenager and she wanted to do everything that teenager did. That wasn't my plan. I just didn't fight it because it made her feel big. She never called her mommy, she called her mom. Amanda was mommy. I made sure that there was a distinction so that she knew who mommy was.
Except
the same
for
way I
when
won't
we
let her
were
call me
talking on the
dad.
phone, you'd be like, oh, you want to come with mommy and daddy?
Never, ever in my life have I ever called her mommy. Anywhere, anytime, ever.
I want to know what would have to happen here to make you happy and peaceful about this situation. Joey and Amanda both say they want to learn how to co-parent their children as a team. So we'll see if something can happen to put the anger and game playing aside long enough to give their child a chance. We'll be right back.
Little girl loves the park. I took her to the park and we had a blast. So I went and dropped her off at home, and Mina has now submitted an affidavit to the court implying that I had done something with my daughter, and it mentions there is sand that was sticking to her bottom near her rectum.
I've never said that Joey sexually molested Joey Lou.
Quote on
Well,
that?
Joey and Amanda have 2 children. They're 2.5 and 4 months old. Joey says he is fed up with all of the false accusations that his mother-in-law keeps making, from molestation claims to not paying child support. But Mina says she is fed up with his antics and just wants him to be civil. Is there anybody here that is implying, insinuating, or otherwise suggesting that he is molesting his daughter?
No.
No, and it's never been said.
That's never been said.
I just got a
It's a
public
lie.
record here on national television, of which you will have a DVD, where they acknowledge you are not doing anything inappropriate with your daughter in that regard. Don't argue with a good outcome. Listen, I'm getting ready to turn a whole bunch of you into Child Protective Services if you don't behave yourself. I'm going to say this to y'all one time, and you're either going to hear me or you're not, and understand when you choose the behavior, you choose the consequences. You are hurt and you're angry, so you're being jerky towards these people. I'm not saying you are a jerk, you are behaving in a jerky fashion. Y'all are very hostile and defensive, supposedly on behalf of the children, against this monstrous human being over here. So instead of being mature adults that sit down and say, you know what, this was a bad decision for us to get married. The only good thing that came out of it are two beautiful, precious children. We don't have to like each other. We don't have to see each other. We can spend whatever money it takes to do this through a court-appointed intermediary. But if that's what you need to do to get through right now, then that's what you need to do. You are an adult. Deal with the father of your children.
Right.
She's here to support you. And I think you are well-intended and mean the best for your daughter and for these children. I don't question that. But you two don't get along, so disengage. But you are going to have these two children in common for the rest of your lives. When you are ready to act like adults instead of hurt teenagers, then you can learn to co-parent. I will make those resources available to the two of you if and when you say I can maturely engage in this and put my feelings aside. Next, we're going to talk to a couple ripped apart by infidelity and the extremes this wife is making her husband go through to prove he is no longer cheating. We'll be right back.
2 weeks before we got married, I had an affair.
When I was pregnant with my son, I was put on complete bed rest.
While she was gone, I ended up having an affair.
And I just remember being on the sidewalk and falling to my knees and screaming.
Well, my next guest, Matt, says that he is addicted to the adrenaline rush he gets from cheating. Now, he has admitted to 3 different affairs. One while his then pregnant wife, Ashley, was in the hospital with a life-threatening condition. Take a look.
Ashley and I met when we were 18.
My first impression of Matt was that he was the ladies' man. A year into dating, we got engaged, and we got married 9 months later.
2 weeks before we got married, I had an affair because I was stressed out.
I confronted both of them about it, and they both denied it.
After she had found out, she was very upset.
When I was pregnant with my son, I was put on complete bed rest for 6 weeks.
While she was gone, I ended up having an affair.
I found out about that affair from text messages on Matt's phone. And I just remember being on the sidewalk and falling to my knees and screaming.
I felt really bad.
Matt's most recent affair was with my friend.
Third affair happened when I got a text message that was not meant to come to me. We started texting back and forth, ended up having an affair.
I keep tabs on him constantly.
I can't account for time that I'm not at work, then it's like I'm out cheating.
I am starting to feel that he actually is doing it to intentionally hurt me.
Wow. You think he's doing what to intentionally hurt you?
Having these affairs.
Okay.
I mean, he's choosing people that I have a history with, that I know, that I love.
And you say that you have had 3 affairs.
Correct.
You think more,
Oh, yeah.
and you think longer than what he said.
For one of them,
For
yes,
one of them,
I believe
okay.
it went on longer.
And you say you're doing this because you get an adrenaline rush from it.
That's the only thing I can come up with as to why I'm doing it.
One encounter was when we were at her house for a family picnic, and there was an encounter of the 2 of them in the bathroom, and I actually came in the house, and she had to hide in the shower. And afterward, he told her how much fun that was and what a rush it was because he loves close calls.
How's your adrenaline running right now? The first affair was 2 weeks before your wedding.
Yes.
Your second affair was a 6-week affair with a friend while she was in the hospital on bed rest. The third affair was 8 weeks with another friend. Right, okay. Now, she thinks you've had more affairs, have you?
No.
Why would she believe you?
And she has no reason to believe me. I've never given her a reason up until now to
He's
believe
still
me.
not giving me a reason to believe him. All he does is get mad that I don't believe him and that I'm suspicious of him because he thinks all he has to do is say, I'm sorry, I won't do it again, and everything's fine.
Yeah, so you said, I wrote down a quote you said because I thought it was particularly focused on what I wanted to talk to you about. It says, quote, "It's impossible to go out of my way every day and reassure my wife I'm not doing something wrong." So you basically think that this is just too much trouble. She's overreacting. She just needs to get over this.
No, I don't think that she just needs to get over it. It's just there's times during my day I don't have time to drop everything I'm doing.
But you know what? He made time to drop everything he was doing every single day for 8 weeks to sleep with my friend. He found the time for that.
What do you want from him?
I want him to stop thinking that he can solve all of our problems with his words. I want him to back it up.
In what way?
I don't even know.
But-
That's why
but
I'm
you-
here, because
Well,
I'm
no, but it's hard to prove
damaged.
that you're not doing something.
Exactly. And that's what I've told him. I said, you need to prove to me that I'm the only one for you and that you love me and that you don't want anybody else, and you're not doing that. He is putting his job first. He admits he puts his job first. He will drop everything we are doing together as a couple, as a family, and deal with something from work that could wait until he goes to work tomorrow.
So you're not feeling valued.
Absolutely not.
You're not feeling a priority.
Oh, no, never.
You're not feeling loved,
Never.
attended to,
Never.
cared for,
No.
nurtured, courted.
No.
You're just kind of there. Do you love her?
I do. I love her a lot.
Were you in love with her when she was in the hospital on bed rest having your baby and you were out having an affair with somebody else?
Yes.
You loved her then?
Yes. I have always loved her, even through the things that I've done.
Even though after that affair, he tells me now that he doesn't remember being sorry.
Just how much has Matt's cheating affected Ashley? Well, you're going to be surprised. We'll be right back. Matt says it's been constant accusations, mistrust, and fighting since he was caught cheating. Not for the first time, not for the second time, but for the third time, just 18 months ago. He says he's tired of having to go out of his way every day to prove to his wife, Ashley, that he is not doing something wrong. So what would you like for her to do?
Eventually, to be able to trust me again. Like, to show to her that I do love her and I do want to be with her forever.
But he just wants it to happen. He literally brought me a Starbucks one day when he came home from work and used it for 3 weeks. But I brought you Starbucks the other day. Doesn't that count for something? Oh, I'm sorry. You slept with my friend for 8 weeks. So you have 8 weeks worth of Starbucks to bring me.
She makes a point.
Yeah.
If I tell him, I don't feel like you're going out of your way for me. I don't feel like you love me. And that's what, but I brought you Starbucks.
What do you need to do?
I need to get myself some help. My health, my emotions, my mind, everything is gone. At this point, I can't look at him and say that I love him.
Do you understand that you're the one that ran this off in the ditch?
Correct, yes.
So if you run a car off in the ditch, isn't it kind of your job to get it back up on the road?
Yes, it is my...
And if you ran it off into like not one ditch, but a second ditch and then a third ditch, so you're like 3 ditches off the road here. And so you don't go out there and tow it back up on the road for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or an hour or 2 hours. You do it until it's back up on the road, right? You ran it off,
yes.
You get it back on. And you need to be asking what it is she needs from you.
I guess one of the things that she asked me to do is to call her or text her while I'm at work. And there's times where, and she'll say that I needed to text her and I didn't have time to. Like there's days where my boss shows up and we walk my store, and if she calls and I run late after work, she'll be, well, why didn't you let me know that you were gonna be late?
You need to let her know where you are and what you're doing. It's just that simple. Just let her know where you are and what you're doing. And in case you haven't noticed, 1, she is the mother of your children, and 2, she is way cute. So you need to really work on this, okay? Now, let me talk to you about what you need to do. This has really gotten to you.
Oh, yeah.
Your stomach's a mess. Like
All the time.
irritable bowel to that point, you're having trouble sleeping, you're saying your face is breaking out, you're having flashbacks. I mean, you're describing PTSD, right?
Yes.
That this was a big
I'm
trauma.
actually having flashbacks of things I didn't see, but details. I was told
Right.
about his affair with my friend in very vivid detail.
Right, and you're playing that out
Yes.
in your head. My point is, regardless of what he does or doesn't do, you have lost yourself in this.
Oh, yeah.
And you are a mother.
Yes.
So your children don't have all of who you are. You have to take care of yourself here. Matt says he's been faithful for 18 months and he wants Ashley to stop accusing him and move on. Well, I've said I think there's a whole lot more to it than that. We've been talking about what your symptoms are here. Clearly, symptoms are something that typically are in reaction to something, either an infection, an illness, a trauma, an event, or whatever. You're having symptoms of anxiety, right?
Yes.
You're feeling apprehensive.
All the time.
True. Are you feeling powerless?
Oh, yeah.
I can't change this. You're having a sense of impending danger or panic or doom sometimes. Increased heart rate, breathing rapidly, sweating, trembling, feeling weak or tired. I mean, these are all symptoms of anxiety. You understand that, right?
Yes.
And that affects the way you are as a wife, as a mother,
A friend,
just
a
as a
sister,
person.
a daughter. It's affected every single part of my life.
It affected every part of you. Now, the only person you can control is you. You can't control him. You have to take care of yourself. Because this has gotten to the point that it's gotten a grip on you, and you have to consider PTSD is an issue here. Dreams and nightmares, you say you're having those, intrusive recollections, some of them you even fabricate, reliving the trauma as illusions, hallucinations, or dissociative flashbacks that you come up with, intense psychological distress if there's exposure to cues, something that brings it all back to you. You have this psychological reaction to those cues. You might avoid thought, feeling, or conversations about it on the one hand and then can't turn it loose the next. You may avoid activities, places, or people because you just kind of want to curl up and get in that fetal position because you feel detached. You can be irritable or aggressive, right?
Yes.
And you deserve every bit of it. So you've got symptoms in both of those things. And the first thing we have to do is get you under control right now in the short term, because this is gaining momentum, right?
Yes.
So you acutely, you're in a conflict here. You guys need some help as a couple. I'm going to make arrangements for that. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. We will get you the help that you need. I want to thank all of my guests today. Thanks so much for being here. So long.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, he blames his mother-in-law
Did you tell your daughter not to put his name on a birth certificate?
for destroying his family.
You're lying right here on TV.
You know what? You're the liar.
I'm getting ready to turn a whole bunch of you into Child Protective Services
Plus, he's had affairs,
because you get an adrenaline rush.
but no time for his wife
He made time every single day for 8 weeks to sleep with my friend.
How's your adrenaline running right now? Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I hate to see people suffering, and you've hurt long enough.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
I'm going to get you the help that you need.
In 5, 4.
This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Go, Dr. Phil.
Hey, guys. How you doing? Hey. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, Joey says all of his dreams came true the day he and his wife, Amanda, started a family. But his world shattered when the mother of his child almost didn't include him on the birth certificate. Things got even worse when Amanda took their daughter, walked out the door, and filed a protection order against him just 6 months after saying "I do." And who does Joey blame for destroying his marriage? Himself? Not hardly. His mother-in-law, Mina, who he says treats him like the scum of the earth. Take a look.
Well, the first time our family was introduced to Joey, he said, "Hi, my name is Joey. I'm never wrong."
My mother-in-law, Mina, was very judgmental towards me.
She just didn't like him.
Joey is a very hostile, volatile, and disagreeable person.
My mother-in-law, Mina, is controlling, mean, and spiteful person.
When Amanda's cousin got married, at the wedding reception, he was yelling and screaming obscenities at Amanda. And I said to her, if he's mean to you, and you can break up with him right now, cut your losses.
We started fighting a lot after I found out I was pregnant. My mom told me not to put Joey's name on the birth certificate until we were married.
He reacted very poorly when Amanda told him. He became very hostile towards me. How dare you say something like that?
Once my mother-in-law, Mina, started pressuring Amanda into leaving my name off of the birth certificate, I knew that we were not going to get along.
The big turning point was when he pushed me against the counter. I knew at that point that I was definitely unsafe around him.
First words out of her mouth is, "I can't believe you pushed me. You pushed me."
I called the police and I left with the clothes that my daughter and I had on our back.
That was her breaking point.
That was her proof that she could take to her family and say that I was a violent person.
My daughter's marriage is over, and I blame it on Joey.
Well, Amanda says her estranged husband, Joey, needs to stop blaming her mother, Mina, for destroying their marriage.
I have been told by Joey that he thinks that I'm crazy and that he thinks that I'm controlling and that he thinks that I am doing all of these things with malicious intent.
I believe my mother-in-law, Mina, is about 90% responsible for all of our marital problems.
My daughter had a protective order issued because Joey is violent and unstable. He has sent me text messages that say that he was going to come to my house and this and that and the other.
I have sent some pretty nasty texts to her. She submitted a lot of these texts to court, but then she deletes out all of her text messages back to me. She turns it into a one-sided conversation. My mother-in-law, Mina,